All right. Well, Justin, thanks so much for joining me today. Thrilled to have you, I guess, as guest number 3 now on our
Nice.
our latest Notify series called Revenue Alert. As I was just mentioning, we want to give you the forum to really unpack a lot of the art and the science behind what it is that you do, and how you drive growth and top line for your properties. But maybe before I dive in, first of all, how are you doing, man? How's Myrtle Beach treating you these days?
Good, Jake. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. And it's just another beautiful day in Myrtle Beach. I mean, that's all we can ask for. Weather's starting to cooperate with us. It's warm out there, so sun's shining. So as long as that stays true, we're off and running.
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, I guess there's worse places to be, holding it down.
Yes.
Well, Justin, I know you're the director of revenue management
Mhm.
for Founders International Group, which
Mhm.
is, I've had the pleasure of getting to know, I guess, over the last 6 months or so. But I know you guys are based and fully kind of focused on the Myrtle Beach area, 20 plus properties. So maybe before I dive in, why don't you just give us a little bit of background, man? What is it that you're doing today in your role as the director of revenue management, and what does a day in the life of Justin Binke look like?
Yeah, the day in the life. That's a great question, Jake. I mean, so it's revenue management from. I've been in the company 18 years, and I've seen it in its infancy, where it was just literally talking about. We'd have meetings on rates of what to charge, and we would sit there and fight over $3. Should it be 77? No, it should be 80. And then at the end of the day, we just turn around and little dartboard, throw it at it, and boop, there it is, 79. All right, let's move on. So um, those conversations, those meetings, I'll never forget, because to see where we are today is just a total uh, change in the way we operate and how pricing, revenue management really came to the forefront of a lot of golf industry, golf professionals, a lot of uh, the revenue and how golf courses operate are based on the revenue management. So it's a very important piece of the whole entire puzzle.
Awesome. And how'd you make your way into that role? Did you start out on day one as a revenue manager, or how'd you get a seat at the table with the darts?
Yeah, so it's a great story. Been down here since in Myrtle Beach area for 2002. I went to Coastal Carolina University, and I graduated with a PGA degree. So I love golf. Golf's always been my background in life ever since I was 6 years old. So essentially what happened is, I got into a golf course down River Club down Pawleys Island. And at that time was part of 12 golf courses, this company called Myrtle Beach National. And I really liked the back end side. I wanted to be on the marketing side, the sales side. That is what interested me. So I was fortunate enough to know the right people and get a seat at the table on the marketing side and sales side. And that's when I really kind of used a lot of my experience being a PGA professional and what I've known from the golf industry at that point to help make decisions on price, um, and just kind of decisions in itself as it relates to growing revenue. So ever since then, I've had the great opportunity to stay in this role in marketing director to back to director of sales and revenue. I've seen a lot. The Myrtle Beach industry, the golf industry itself, the market has just grown so much, and to be a part of that whole entire growth period, and from the dog days of COVID to after the whole boom, the demand that we see now, it's been quite the experience.
Yeah, I believe it. What would you say has changed the most since your first day in the office, getting onto the sales and marketing side of things to where we are today? I mean, what are the big ways the role of a revenue manager has changed over the last 18 years, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important piece that we talk about now is just the whole how we leverage data and analytics to make better pricing and better business decisions as a whole. The way we've been able to dig into reporting like we have, the way we've been able to focus on specific times of day, days of week, and really kind of create a strategy by golf course. So when it was before, it was just a whole strategy. All right, here's our strategy for the entire portfolio. Now we're actually drilling down to certain times of day, hot spots, high demand tee times on certain courses, and having a strategy for each. That's where we've been able to drill down and really make an impact on revenue that way.
Awesome. And I've heard that a lot about the importance of data. I think Chris May was saying it's so important that you have clean data, because if you don't have if it's junk in, it's junk out, right? So
That's
I'm
right.
curious, as you think about both, I'd say the tools and the tactics as you look ahead in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What are the big trends that you're seeing? What are the big new innovations or capabilities or strategies that you guys are putting into place this season that maybe in a pre-COVID world you weren't thinking about?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Jake. I think what we've really been trying to focus on is exactly that. It was just, April, we were talking before, April is our prime target. We don't want to leave money on the table. So now we actually have the tools to price ourselves where it's not really compared to our competition. It's more of what our T-sheet's telling us, what historical data is telling us, and how we can leverage that. By knowing that information, we will help us charge more and even a lot better, a lot efficient in those times of day, in those high kind of peak demand times. It's huge for us to capitalize on that. Make sure to capitalize on that revenue, because those times, if you undercharge or if you make the wrong decision or pricing strategy, it can really affect your revenue on that golf course. And that's why we've gotten to be so efficient on those peak times. And by doing that, it goes across all our distribution channels. So in Myrtle Beach, we have so many. So by pricing yourself right at that time across all those distribution channels, then you have a great chance of actually maximizing your revenue. And that's what we really kind of focused on. And I say distribution channels, that's across our providers to direct bookings. We've seen a lot of direct bookings, so we've had some focus on that too, just direct bookings through our website. So how can we maximize those rates? And so it's a little bit of kind of both. It's focusing our distribution channels, making sure we have pricing models that fit each one. And then from a pricing standpoint, making sure you're maximizing your revenue opportunities on those times of day and days of week.
Awesome. And you alluded to COVID, right? What was it like in, let's say, the first week of March? What is it? Coming up on 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. You pinch yourself, right? How many, the roller coaster ride, I'm sure it was. What was it like for you guys, maybe March 1, 2020, when all of a sudden the world goes into shutdown? I'm sure everything that you guys had put together in terms of the playbook, kind of, you could toss it out the window. You see that demand line plummet, and you probably see cancellations surge. All of a sudden, you guys are holding the bag for 20 courses, P&L with not a lot of P on there. So what was it like? But then obviously we know how the movie ends, right? Here we are, 500 million rounds a year. I mean, what was it like for you from, let's say, March 1, 2020 to March 1, 2021?
It was a nightmare, Jake. I'm not gonna. You can't sugarcoat that. But it was a horrible time for us. First of all, because March 1, we had everything booked, like our pre-bookings, we call them golf packages, for March, April, May, and June, all on the books, and then everybody canceled at once, and it was terrible. It was horrible, but it just was the time. I think what we learned a lot from that, though. We learned about what not to do and how to do things better. And from a management standpoint, it's just take care of your team. We learned very quickly how to keep a cool head when things got really crazy. You had to. You just had to get through it. That was kind of our philosophy, was just to try to manage the process best we could and make sure we're following the guidelines, make sure you're following everything. So that whole year, actually that fall, we started the fall of 2020, we started coming back a little bit. And then by that winter of 2020 into Q1 of 2021, we started to see that golf piece come back. So it was doom and gloom, and then we saw signs of hope, and we kind of rallied behind that. We leveraged golf to be the whole outside experience, and that kind of drove demand. We saw new golfers. We saw our locals come out and support us. We saw people coming and wanting to go outside and experience the game. So it was a bad thing, but it was a good thing because it actually leveraged demand over time.
Do you have any memories of how long the doom and gloom lasted until when you started to see that little bookings line start to creep up and you started to see, I wonder,
Yeah,
I'm sure there were many meetings with a revenue manager hat on of, yeah, it's not going well right now. And let's just hold the line. Let's somehow, let's weather the storm, batten down the hatches and survive. And then I'm sure at some point that little bookings line start creeping up on the chart. And all of a sudden at some point, right, being a revenue manager in a hot golf market with great products like you have, I'm sure at some point became like, being a kid in a candy shop a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great. It was motivation. It was, we felt like we were starting to get some momentum. And that was key for us to keep it going. So it was like, it was so exciting. It's like, I think we just booked a couple rounds in October. It's like, okay, cool. Like, well, maybe there's some demand there. And then we would, our team here, the marketing team, the sales team works so good together. So it was like, okay, we think we should, let's try some drive markets. When they opened up to out of state, we got North Carolina. So let's go and hit Raleigh, Charlotte. So let's make a strategy around that marketing angle and put a package together and see if we can go to those markets and make it attractive. And a lot of that worked. And we kept expanding. And then people were so cooped up for so long that finally they wanted to get out and travel again. And once that hit, it was like, it was gangbusters. We were rocking and rolling. So that was a good part to go down so hard. And like you said, just weather the storm as best you can to all of a sudden, wow, look at this demand. What are we going to do with it? How do you price this? Are we, is this real demand? Is this going to hold? So all those questions happened, and we had many meetings on that. But at the end of the day, that demand, we're still seeing that today. And that's what's really kind of the coolest thing to see is that the golf demand, especially here in Myrtle Beach, has been solid.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, I remember listening a lot to the Airbnb founders, and I don't know if it was a similar demand trajectory, right? But you have global travel and overall experiences just plummet, right? And I'd almost put golf into that experience bucket of entertainment where people like to do destination traveling. They like to get on the road and go somewhere new and check out new courses. And with Airbnb, February, March, April, it was a absolute rock in the pond of drop in demand. But then they started to see that people were driving. So there was a lot of searches on Airbnb for, Airbnbs within 90-minute drive. So it sounds like for you all, I'm sure if you did a 90-mile, let's say, circle around Myrtle Beach, I wonder if some of the first folks to get back on the courses were those that said, hey, listen, we're not going to be able to travel to Florida from, Riley, but why don't we go to Myrtle Beach for the weekend? Or let's go, let's go try out a few new properties there. So I'm curious if you guys saw any new type of demographics coming post-COVID than you did maybe pre-COVID, or if it's similar.
We did see initially the insurgence from our dry markets from Georgia to North Carolina, even Virginia. Richmond was strong. So that was good to actually target them and have them drive down, in which they did. And I remember booking trips for golfers, and specifically North Carolina, and even outside of Myrtle Beach area in South Carolina, from Spartanburg area out west, and Columbia. So it was good to get the local support, I call it, in a sense, where it was just kind of like our states around us. But once that travel came back, once that traveling golfer came back, that's what really fueled us. The Northeast has always been our top market for golf packages, for advanced bookings. And once they were able to fly again and they felt comfortable driving, the floodgates opened up. And it was just the New Yorkers from Philly, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. That's a big market for us. The whole Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Jersey. Once they started flying back down and the airlines kept going and it was safe to go on airlines, that's where we're off and running.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. As you talk to many other revenue managers, I know I've seen you on the circuit at many of the events, and you probably are pals with folks in similar roles at all different types of courses, from ultra high end to, maybe more municipal. Are there any big mistakes that you hear your peers talking about, or in your time you've seen, maybe something that seemed shiny and, really like a no-brainer, but then kind of flopped? Or what are some mistakes you've seen operators make over the years?
Yeah, I mean, there's some mistakes, and we've made some ourselves. I mean, one thing that we've struggled with, I guess you could say, is just the local market programs, our local cardholder programs. We set ourselves into a specific rate, and we got stuck with that rate. So when demand was high, we were still charging X. And we had to find a way from our local programs, local cardholders, to keep them happy, but yet keep raising the price. So from a local standpoint, from a local cardholder memberships, if you will, keep pushing the issue on those rates. They're going to be played. There's a lot of demand in the local areas, especially around here in Myrtle Beach. A lot of people moved down here, so the local memberships went up in the number of them. And then we had a lot of people wanting to play at these low rates, so we had to figure out how to keep increasing that rate. So that we kind of backed ourselves into a low rate that we couldn't get out of, and then we had to change the program around so that we can increase that rate. So it's important to make sure that when your local memberships, if you're starting a cardholder program, that your booking window for those are in a good, 2 days out, 1 day out, however you want it. And that rate that you're charging is something that you can price dynamically or be able to increase rate if you have to. That's definitely something we struggle with. And then another thing, Jake, honestly, with a lot of revenue managers I talk to is, and I'm guilty of this too, is just taking the time to look at what happened. Take the time to look and see what worked and what didn't work from your revenue strategies. I mean, we set goals and strategies for, like I said, per course. Take the time. I know we're all busy and whatnot, but take the time to look at the data. Look what happened. Did we succeed in our goals here at this golf course? Are we hitting the price points we want? So it's important just to take the time to recap what happened. That's analyze strategies and don't be afraid to adjust. We've done that many times, and that's really important to make sure that you take the time to devote to looking at your revenue strategies, how they're working, how well they performed, and if you got to change moving forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. And as you're, I know you have marketing within Founders Group International. You've got marketing and revenue. As they've been together. I'm sure you've worn the marketing hat, you've worn the revenue manager hat, you've probably worn both hats. Now, obviously, you've got Karen with you, kind of in the trenches as a partner in crime.
Yep.
How do you guys think about the differences of responsibilities between marketing and revenue? And maybe on top of that, as you think about more of the art and the science of what you guys both do, would you say that marketing's more art and revenue management's more science, or vice versa? Or how do you think about kind of those two roles that you all have together?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we're very fortunate to have Karen Altman on our team as director of marketing for Founders Group, and it's just been great to have her. And the way we work great together in a sense where we're able to communicate on what we're looking to do, meaning not only from a golf course standpoint, from an overall standpoint, we focus on months that we may need some more help. So how can marketing kind of push some more assets in that direction, or a golf course that's struggling? How can we push that more on our marketing assets and in our digital footprint and everything? So it's being able to work hand in hand on that front, where it's like, we're trying to do strategies on this group of courses and this group of courses, and marketing will support that. Marketing is more of an art, in my opinion. In revenue management, it's more scientific. It's more data driven. That's what it feels like. But at the same point in time, from a revenue standpoint, it's a lot. You got to know the market. So if you know the market, that can really influence a lot rather than the data. So working hand in hand and being able to communicate, that's that's huge from a marketing sales perspective. They go together. They always have. And being able to adjust quickly and efficiently and be able to get, certain courses back up to speed or on the revenue game, or even if it's just making decisions, like what do you want to do? How do you want to approach fall? We sit and talk with meetings about what's our strategy of pushing fall golf. Well, here's what we're doing on the revenue side. So how can marketing support that, or how can marketing drive that?
When you're talking to marketing and you're thinking about attracting new golfers and you're looking at various, cities, or you're looking at historical data, are there any channels that have surprised you that have performed better than others in terms of attracting new golfers, getting, past golfers to play more often? Or I'm curious, how do you guys think about channels to drive as many new customers as possible?
Yeah, and our marketing team has done a great job. We've really focused on the social front. Karen and her team do a great job of keeping up with our social channels for every golf course. Plus, we call them our portal sites, mbn.com, myrtlebeachgolftrips.com, our golf package division, and really staying on top of that social front with not only boosting posts, but with paid ads too, paid social ads to try and reach out to certain demographics and certain consumer behaviors within that social atmosphere. And it's really worked for us. We've gotten a lot of leads off of that. We've got a lot of direct bookings off of that. So, and that's just on Facebook. That's on TikTok. We're on TikTok now, and Instagram. So, and X. So being able to have all those social platforms working for you and being able to be in front of a lot more consumers, that's helped us drive new business. I think it's done a great job of being able to attract new golfers. Now, can we track that very well? Yeah, I mean, we can, but just from the fact of, it's a new angle for us, I do believe that a lot of that new business it's been successful, and that new business is going to hopefully be repeat business in the future.
Right. Because, if you deliver a great product and that golfer comes, they play 3 rounds, they have an amazing time, they're out with their friends.
Yep.
Actually, the lifetime value of that customer is, 3-5 times X of what they just paid on that trip. Do you guys measure lifetime value, or do you compare it against customer acquisition costs? Or is it more so, how do you guys think about the, measuring ROI on customer acquisition investments like that? Maybe that's more of a caring question, but I'm curious.
No, it's literally, we focus on how well of a job we can actually keep reaching out to our customer and making sure that when they're ready to book again, that they're going to come back to us, and making sure that our customer service is on point. Our agents, whether it's the customer experience, user experience online, that all that was up to par where it needs to be. So as far as measuring the ROI, our repeat customer base is pretty high. Our percentage of repeat customers come back to us is great. So it's more, Karen would probably speak to that a lot more, but I mean, just being able to stay in front of them, making sure that we're addressing all their needs. We have the right package for them. They want to come back, and reaching out to them. And usually what we've done a great job too is building content and having that customer informed all the time of what's happening in Myrtle Beach and what's the new golf courses, what's changed, what golf courses have been renovated. The greens have been done at Long Bay. So we talk about that a lot. I think that's a big key for us, is to be able to push that content out to our consumers and potential consumers of what's going on here in Myrtle Beach.
Have you done anything with the influencer game? I mean, I know as a consumer of content, we see good, no laying up. I mean, these guys really, guys and gals, are getting a front seat in the kind of golf observer experience, right? I mean, we went to the NGF conference and we heard Greg Nathan talk about when folks see golf on social media, the perception is positive.
Yeah.
And maybe in a pre-social world, golf was seen as boring, it was seen as slow, it was seen as kind of old. But now when people think golf and they see it on socials, even folks who don't golf, they think it's cool, it's sexy, it's fun, it's you've got Steph Curry and you've got Pat Mahomes, like these guys are going on a course. So I'm curious, in Myrtle Beach, have you guys done anything with the influencer game at all?
Yeah, no, we're exploring those opportunities. We work hand in hand with our marketing arm here that markets the whole market is GTS, Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday. So they're engaged with a lot of the influencers on the YouTube influencers to social media. We partner with them on a lot of fronts on that. Have to make sure they play our golf courses. We work with. I think we did. They have a nice ad going out with St. Andre Golf. You know
Yeah.
those? They're
Yeah.
hysterical. They're hilarious. It's so funny what they do, and they're so good at creating content. So that we had them do a couple of ads for us to talking about our golf package company, Myrtle Beach Golf Trips, and how we can help. So stuff like that, I think, goes a long way of marketing our not only the market, but our courses here at Myrtle Beach and having them go to our golf package company. So working with them on that front a lot. These conversations happen all the time about the influencers and how we can bring them to Myrtle Beach and let them create that environment that they do so well to help us out. I mean, help bring new eyeballs on the market.
What do you think's next for FGI? I mean, how's Founders Group thinking about the future? Right, you guys, what 22 courses now? 21.
21.
21
courses. Yeah.
Right. Are you thinking about expanding in market? Have you ever thought about going out of the Myrtle Beach area? How are you guys thinking about the next 1 to 3 years for FGI?
Yeah, I think our focus right now from a golf course standpoint is we're actually looking at doing more redevelopment and on our own golf courses, whether that be redoing the bunkers. Right now we're redoing the bunkers at Myrtlewood Pine Hills. Last year we did the whole renovation of Pawleys Plantation Golf and Country Club down in Pawleys Island. And the year before that we did Grand Dunes. So it's continually to invest in our product. That is going to benefit us a lot ways that we can that we can do, right? That even ties into revenue management. If we just redid the whole Pawleys Plantation golf course, we brought in Jack's team and they went ahead and did it. So and then we can start charging a more higher price there. We can look at more revenue opportunities on that front. So it's investing in our product and continuing to upgrade our golf courses, whether that be a clubhouse, bunkers, greens, cart pass. We just did a cart pass at Wild Wing. It's not a sexy thing is to do the cart pass, but it's so good. It's so once you play out there and brand new cart, it's nice. So it's doing things like that we're going to continue to do this upcoming year. We've got some plans for some golf courses here. So we might look at Kings North, redoing that golf course. So it's continually investing in the product itself. And at the same time, I think we're looking to grow our golf package business here, Myrtle Beach Golf Trips. So it's really focusing in on our marketing efforts to continually grow the golf package so that we can, from people coming down here to engage in a local market. I think we've done a great job. Our golf package business has grown every year. Our online assets, our digital footprint has grown. So it's leveraging that as well to make sure that keeps going the right direction.
Excellent. All right. Last question for you.
Yeah.
You're 18 years in to your,
Yes.
you're a golf management adult now, right? You've graduated from golf management adolescence. Congratulations. For folks who maybe love the game, or maybe they're current professionals, they're thinking about getting into the game, the business side. What's your advice for folks who are interested in a career in revenue management? And if you were talking to yourself the night before day one, I mean, what advice would you have for yourself?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think when you're in revenue management itself and you're in the game, it's important to be adaptive, be flexible, because I've seen market conditions. We talk about COVID change so rapidly that you got to be able to change yourself. You got to be able to adapt to those market conditions and react to them. So don't be afraid to react and make changes, make decisions. And I think a lot of it, doing pricing for all 21 golf courses is just not me. I have help. I have a committee that we run. We meet every Thursday. So a couple of golf pros that we meet every week to talk about revenue management. We talk about trends. We talk about pace. So it's not just me over there just typing prices. I'm engaging, my fellow coworkers and pros to help me out with making those pricing decisions. I think that's important. I mean, one of my goals and last year was to, and you touched on it, Jake, was to go out there and be more proactive in the community. And going out there, I went to golf business down in Florida. I went to Golf Tech Con, and then Golf Inc. in California. So I wanted to engage the revenue network, if you will, of all the people we know, and all those the vendors from Sagacity, Lightspeed, Metolius, and talk with them and gain more knowledge, and just be able to be out there and share ideas. That's important. Don't be afraid to go out there and go to conferences. Get yourself out there and be able to talk to people. You'll learn a lot, because the same struggles that we go through, there's a lot of people that go through the same thing, and they may have done things that you say, oh, hey, you know what, we should try this, or let's try that. I've learned a lot this year from other people, and I think that's very important. And then lastly, Jake, you gotta embrace technology. You gotta be able to partner with people like Notify, which we have at Grand Dunes, and we continue to work on that. Right, being able to be ahead of that technology trend. We came I talked about dartboards before. That's where we were to where we are now with Sagacity and Lightspeed Golf, and what we're able to do. It's just mind blowing, and it's going to be even more as we get into AI. Into that stuff. So be on the forefront of technology, because the more you know about that, the more you can apply to your business, and then you'll be able to make a lot of better decisions. So I'm really looking forward to what AI can bring to the table. We've had discussions on that and the conferences about that. So, just being at the forefront of technology, you got to be there. You got to be in that space. You got to know that world.
Justin Binke, thank you for joining me today. I always love chatting and chopping it up with you. And I think I've seen you on the circuit at many of those you just named, and it's always a blast hanging out. I know the FGI crew knows how to have a good time, and give my best to Karen and the team. And I'm looking forward to at some point getting down and visiting you guys and doing an on-course assessment soon.
Absolutely, Jake. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
All right, my friend. Cheers. I'm going to end this.